We're nearing the end of August and it's been such a busy month. We had the fair going on. We started our homeschool year with the kids, and Joel's been working really hard on the barn to get that ready for concrete. So today we need to prioritize the garden a little bit. We've been keeping up with tomatoes, zucchini, and cucumbers, but it has been so hot recently that we haven't been getting out here to check on some of the other things. My main goal for today is checking on the onions and the garlic. I want to make sure that we get those out of the ground before they start to rot in the ground. We have potatoes to harvest yet, but that's going to have to wait for another day because we just won't have time to process everything right now. I can see that I have a lot of kale to process, so I might pick some of that today and get that going. I'll check on the peas and see if there's anything left that I can pull from to harvest seeds for next year. But with the hot temperatures the last couple weeks, it looks like a lot of the plants just shriveled up completely, and I'm not even sure that I'll be able to harvest the seeds. But we'll check on that. I'm gonna go get some shovels and then we're gonna get to work. There's one of the cicada killer wasp holes. Found a few throughout. Don't like you! Now there's two of them. Might need to sacrifice the shallots. There's so many holes.
Well, there we go.
Good enough?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a really busy day. We got the garlic and the onions and the shallots harvested. We got the rest of the beets harvested. And I'm going to take you out to the garden right now and just show you what it looks like right now. And then we took all of the garlic and the onions to the barn to lay them flat for a couple weeks to cure. So then I'll take you out there and I'll show you the harvest that we got today. So this is the area that we had all of the onions and garlic. We pulled all of the stakes out and we just rolled the tarp as we went. I kind of tried to shake off the dirt as I went with the tarp and then rolled it up so that it was a little more clean. It's just sitting at the end of the garden right now, but we will go put it in the barn and we'll just store it for the winter. We'll do that with all of the tarps. But for now, I'm going to leave the rest of them just to try to prevent weeds while I can. I had planted the onions from sets and I heard kind of mixed things about doing that, and probably half of the onions were approximately the same size coming out as they were going in. They were just much firmer and with like thick stems. We still did get quite a few onions, just not as many as I had hoped for, and we kind of knew that this year was going to be a little different because we moved in February. And normally onions and garlic would be something that you plant in the fall to harvest the next summer. And we planted them obviously this spring since we moved in February. So we just planted them in the garden here. But going forward, I would like to come up with an area near our other perennial bed where I have the rhubarb and the asparagus and stuff like that, and make another bed over there for onions and garlic so that we can plant that up in the fall. And we'll still be able to till this entire garden in the springtime. So I don't want to plant anything in this garden that would be perennial or that I would plant in the fall because I want to be able to till the garden every spring. As you can see, the sweet potato vines are growing over the tarp where the onions and garlic were. So we just pulled the sweet potato vines back and dug out what we needed to. And when we were done, we just pulled them back over the dirt, and we'll leave them there until we're ready to harvest the potatoes. We actually did run into a couple of sweet potatoes while we were digging the onions and the garlic. So those are definitely growing and branching out a little bit under the ground. So that's promising. I'm very excited for that. Another thing that we did run into while we were digging in this area is a bunch of the holes for the cicada killer wasps. So they're definitely nesting in the garden. I wouldn't be so concerned about them just being in the garden during the day, but I don't love that they're actually nesting in the garden. My dad is really allergic to bee and wasp stings, so we're definitely going to have to try to take some preventative measures for next year so that they don't just lay their eggs in the ground here and then we end up with them again next year. It seems like they're maybe almost done for the year because I haven't been seeing them very much during the day. There was one flying around us a little bit as we got to the north end of the garden over here, but for the most part I haven't been seeing them. If you have any tips for getting rid of them, please leave them in the comments if you've dealt with it before. But right now, I think that after we're done harvesting for the year, I'll probably treat the soil with something and till that in to hopefully kill any eggs that might be in the soil, hoping that next year they won't hatch. But let's go ahead and go into the barn and see the onion and garlic harvest from today. We just have a couple pallets set up here in the barn so that they get a little bit of airflow from underneath, and we just have them in single layers. We'll probably keep them here for a couple of weeks until we can bring them in the house. We took any that we damaged when we were taking them out of the ground and just brought those in the house for immediate use. But this is how we are curing the onions and the garlic. If you remember from one of my previous videos, harvesting peas with my dad, we left one row of the peas so we can collect seed for next year. And I definitely waited too long to come and collect these seeds. We've just been doing our best to keep up with everything that's been coming out of the garden, and this hasn't been a priority. And it looks like a lot of the plants have just completely shriveled up and there's not even pods on them anymore. But I'm going to collect what I can. I do see some pods, and I have quite a few plants here, so I'm hoping that I'll still have enough just for seed for next year. I'll show you what it looks like quick and how I'm going to collect the seeds. So all I'm going to do is pick one off and open it up and collect all of those seeds inside. That's it. See, you can see I just waited too long, and a lot of these pods are so shriveled up. Not sure how these would do. A simple way to test if the seeds are good enough for next year is to just take some inside and take a couple and see if they germinate inside. And if they do, they're probably fine for saving next year. Once I've collected all of these seeds, I am going to take them inside and I'm going to freeze them for 5 days. Don't miss that step, because a lot of pea seeds can have weevil eggs in them and they will destroy your seeds. So you want to make sure that you freeze them for like 5 days to make sure that they stay cold long enough. It might take 24 to 48 hours to completely freeze the pea. Different spots in your freezer might have different temperatures. So that's why I just do it for 5 days to be cautious. That cold temperature will kill any weevil eggs that might be in your seeds, and that way your seeds will remain viable for the next year. Here's a good example of one that went too long, and you can just see that there are no pods left. They've just all shriveled up and there's no seeds left to collect. Well, it's getting a little dark now, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I do think that I will end up with enough seed for next year, because I'm not going to plant as many peas as I planted this year. And although many of the plants don't have any seeds, you can get many seeds from very few plants. So I'm probably halfway right now, and I've collected this many seeds so far. So that should be plenty for next year by the time I finish. But thank you so much for following along with us today. We hope that you're learning along with us and enjoy watching these videos as much as I enjoy making them. We'll see you in the next one.